What's up guys, King of Duels here with another video. In this video I'm going to be giving a deck profile of my current Nitro Synchro deck profile, but from now on, from this point forward, as the video title will say, it's not going to be called Nitro Synchro anymore because the name's too vague, I think. It could be taken for anything, so instead I'm going to be calling it Quasar Control, because the deck's pretty much based around trying to at least maintain a bigger monster than your opponent. I don't know if that's really considered a control deck, but it is a control in a way where I summon, like, Stardust and some other synchro monsters with a high attack, and kind of sit there and just attack every turn until I just eventually win, which is pretty cool. The deck's definitely the most fun deck I've ever played in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you ever played this deck, build it on Kneeling Network or Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, whichever one you prefer. If you play this, you'll fully understand what I'm talking about. This is the best, the funnest deck. You could do so much every turn. It feels like you have more plays than you can ever possibly think of, and there's infinite outs to everything. Even though I don't run stable cards, there's always some way to get over things that hurt the deck. It seems like, just because you have 15 cards in your extra deck, and each one is placed there specifically for one reason, and it's always to get over the meta or, help the deck succeed. So let's get off with the deck profile. I'm going to be doing a deck analysis as well, which pretty much means I'm just going to explain all the cards in the deck, why I have them in there. It's going to be a long video, as you can probably tell by the maximum duration, but I want to get out how to play this deck. If you watch my video, I want you to be able to have a full understanding of what to do if you want to play this deck, so or why, because there's a lot of questionable stuff in my deck, but I'll explain it all. Let's start off with the deck profile. We're going to start off with 3 Quickdraw Synchron. Quickdraw Synchron being the main engine of the deck. Definitely the best card. He's the one that makes all the plays. That's why I run 3 of them. Just all you have to do is discard a monster to special summon him. He's a level 5 tuner, and he can only be used for the synchro summoning of Synchron monsters that say Synchron in the name as a required tuner. So he has limited power at first when you think about him, but when he's in combination with Level Eater, which I will run 3 of, it makes infinite plays with him. You discard Level Eater for quick draw, and you can instantly make a Road Warrior if you have another high 5 level, 5 or higher target monster on your side of the field. You can eat that target, and then go into a 6, which is Drill Warrior, which is easily the best combination of him besides Road Warrior. But Road Warrior is really hard to bring out, but Drill Warrior is easily the best. His ability is ridiculous, but we'll get to that. I don't know. I'm sure most of you know what Drill Warrior does, but level eaters, 3 level eaters. I know I put them up there a little bit early, but they're important. Level Eater makes the plays of the deck happen. When he's in the graveyard, you can reduce the level of 1 5 or higher monster on your side of the field to special summon him. Extremely broken because he's a level 1. And the only thing bad about him, I guess, is he can only be used to you can only tribute him for a tribute summon, which means you can't eat, like, enemy controller in combination with him would be the most broken thing in the world, or anything like Mass Driver. That's why they specifically said on the card you can't just go Mass Drive. You summon Quasar and then you just lovely Quasar, Mass Driver, lovely, Mass Driver, lovely, and just, kill your opponent from just Level Eater spam. And there's actually a loop with Level Eater and Rai-Oh that in one game I had Bryanak on the field, shooting Star Dragon and Formula Synchron, and in one game I was able to loop until I ate Shooting Star's level all the way down to 5, and then Rai-Oh was 5 with the formula, so I Quasar'd with a Shooting Star Dragon, which was quite a feat in itself. The next cards, 2 Synchron Explorers. Synchron Explorers only in here for the 3 card Quasar, which is the 3 cards that are currently right here. That's why I haven't moved them. Quick Draw, Level Eater, Synchron. If you open them, there's a quick 3 card Quasar that you can do on your first turn anytime you want. The only thing you have to worry about is Veiler, or if you go second, they might have trap cards. He allows you to bring a Synchron monster back from the graveyard and special summon it. including himself, any monster with Synchron in its name, which is a lot of monsters in my deck, including this guy, Unknown Synchron. I run 2 of them because I know it's a once per turn effect, or once per duel effect, whatever. I've had people say, like, why are you running 2? That's dumb. But it's for Road Warrior. Road Warrior allows you to special summon 1 level 2 or lower machine or warrior from your deck, so you target him, and you special summon him, and then you level 8 Road Warrior, and you can go into Formula Synchron, and that's a part of the 3-card Quasar. I think I've done that on my channel somewhere if you're curious what the 3-card Quasar means. But those are the 4 different cards that are used in creating the Quasar in turn 1, and the rest of the deck is just speed, I guess. Just put in there to speed so you can get to a Quasar that you don't get on turn 1. I run 2 Junk Synchron. Junk Synchron is really good. There's tons of targets for him in the deck. I only like 2 because I don't necessarily like monsters that are normal summoned. They have to normal summon, because you only get 1 normal summon a turn. So if I get like a whole bunch of monsters that can be special summoned, I can just infinitely play them, and that's a lot more awesome than, you know, normal summoning Junk Synchron and bringing back something. But I have to have some monsters to normal summon in my deck. That's why I have Junk Synchron in there, because if I don't have normal summon monsters, then, well, Junk Synchron is just too good. In combination with him, you gotta have the Doppelwarrior, which my favorite play, the most reliable play out of all of them is having a Junk Synchron and a Doppelwarrior in your hand, and having a level 1 tuner in the graveyard. You just Junk Synchron, you bring the level 1 tuner back. Doppelwarrior, you go into Hyper Librarian, use Doppelwarrior's effect to bring out the 2 tokens, and then you can Formula Synchron. So it's a 2-card. It requires 2 cards to do this from your hand, and Hyper Librarian lets you draw 2 from the Formula Synchron and Formula Synchron's effect, so you get to draw 2 cards. So it replenishes itself immediately, which makes it like just free monsters for no reason, which is pretty awesome. Hyper Librarian is definitely the main synchro monster of the deck for sure. Alright, now we're gonna get into some text, I guess. Not really text, the whole deck's kind of based on text at this point, because after the part that I just showed, those monsters are staples in Quasar decks, but everything after that is all personal preference. So we got 2 Thunder King, Chaos Sorcerer, and Dark Armed. That's going to be, I don't have a Dark Armed right now, but I'll have one in like 2 days, so that's why it's proxied. Chaos Sorcerer is supposed to be a BLS. I don't have a BLS right now, which is sad. So until then, he will be a Chaos Sorcerer. Alright, now we're going to get into 2 text. Spell Striker. If you don't know what he does, I run 2 of them. If you don't know what he does, you remove a spell from the graveyard to special summon him. He's a 3-star non-tuner, and he's got a pretty amazing effect for being just... he's got a really good effect. His effect is, this card can attack your opponent directly, so it's got 600 attack, can attack directly, and you also take no battle damage from battles involving this card. So there's literally no consequence to just putting it in an attack position every time you summon it, because you don't take battle damage. And you can just attack your opponent. It's like, have you ever had a game where you got your opponent really low, like 200 life points, and then they just top deck something amazing, and it just caused them to win? Well, in this situation, you top deck that Spell Striker, summon it, attack directly, and win. It's kind of like having that Okazi, when you're just like, oh man, they're only at 200 life points. How can I get over this 200 life points? And then I threw in the Plant Engine, which is just 3 cards. I don't like the Breeze Dragon because it doesn't really summon much besides these 2 cards. These 3 cards are really the only thing it summons in the deck, with the exception of, I don't know, a couple cards. But I don't really like the Breeze Dragon, so I keep it like this. A lot of people don't think this is enough plants, but it definitely is. Lonefiring into a Spore is broken. Dandylion, draw it, doesn't matter. You have so many discard outlets, you can get it in the graveyard. Same thing with all 3 of the cards. You have so many discard outlets, you can get them in the graveyard whenever you want. And I also added the Psychic Engine, the E-Telly engine, which is 3 E-Tellys and 3 Psychic monsters, 1 Krebons, 1 Psychic Commander, 1 Mind Protector. These 2, this one, Mind Protector, he is a level 3 non-tuner. He's there just in case I have an E-Telly in like a handful of tuners. I need that non-tuner. Psychic Commander is there because he's a level 3 tuner, and in case I have, like, I don't know. It's all just in case of the situation, depending the situation. This just opens so many options, these 3 cards. You don't really need more than one because you can special summon it from the hand or deck, and even though it's not like plussing off of, well, you don't really plus from the card, but even though you don't special summon from the deck, sometimes the better option is special summoning from the hand, even though you drew it. But yeah, and Krebons, these 2 I really like because he's a dark and he's a light, so you can automatically special summon like BLS, because I only run 2 Thunder King and Mind Protector as my light targets, so it's good to have one that I can just summon whenever I want. Alright, well, we got to 3 of the spell cards, which are 3 E-Tallies. More spell cards are 2 tuning. Tuning's only there for consistency. It's the Rhoda for the deck. Add a Synchron tuner monster from your deck to your hand, then mill one. So many times did I add Quickdraw to my hand with not much more plays than that, and then off the free mill one, you mill Level Eater, and automatically you pretty much win because you have so many options at that point. It's pretty awesome. The mill is pretty cool sometimes, but the Rhoda effect is obviously the reason I use it. Then we got staples. We'll do Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, Pot of Avarice, Foolish Burial, 1-for-1, Allure of Darkness, Rhoda, and Mind Control. These are the entire plant staple in selection. Besides, I'll select these 2. I think that's it. But Rhoda's there because he searches Doppelwarrior, Spell Striker, and Junk Synchron, so he's better than the tuning. Allure's there because I run like 16 dark monsters. That's why I also have Dark Armed in there. Alright, now let's get on to the extra deck. The extra deck's based around Quickdraw Synchron. I think I put a certain amount of cards. I tried to make the deck, and 10 extra deck slots need to be made. Need to be like kept just so you can use the first turn Quasar loop. So you need at least 10, or make sure like all your cards are live at all times. First off, I use Formula Synchron. Formula Synchron's amazing. If it was at 2, this format would be, well, any format that Formula Synchron was at 2, this deck would just override everything, because you could just go Hyper Librarian and double Formula Synchron and draw 4. That's crazy OP. But let's go into the next one, Armory Arm. He's there because the BLS OTK is amazing. Armory Arm, sometimes I need a level 4 when I have a level 6 on the field and I have Formula Synchron, so I can Quasar. Sometimes I can only go level 4 as the play. A lot of times I go Hyper Librarian, then I make an Armory Arm because it's my only option, and then I'll just equip the Armory Arm to the Hyper Librarian and make it like a 3400 beater, which is amazing. Speaking of Hyper Librarian, next card is Hyper Librarian. It's getting reprinted in the next set. Should have been reprinted a lot earlier. Seeing a Shockmaster is getting reprinted immediately. Hyper Librarian's amazing. Draw 1 each time you Synchro Summon. That's pretty much the only reason he's in there. Also, I built the deck around a theory where I make where it's called, I call it 1 card, 1 Synchro Monster. It's just an idea that I had, and it's kind of what the deck is made around. With Hyper Librarian on the field, if you have a way to where when you draw a card, when you have 1 card in your hand, you can make a Synchro Monster off of it. Then with Hyper Librarian on the field, you can make an infinite loop in a way where you make a Synchro Monster with Hyper Librarian on the field. You draw a card. That card you draw allows you to make another Synchro Monster, which allows you to draw again. And then that one makes you able to make a Synchro Monster, which allows you to draw again. And it usually goes like that until my field is filled with big old monsters and I just swing for game. It's really good. With Hyper Librarian on the field, if you have any sort of play, you can really just go off, because you'll just keep refilling your hand and it'll just be looping infinitely. And it's crazy how broken Hyper Librarian is. Next card's Catastor. I picked this up at Locals. The DT. It's the best Catastor, even though it's only a rare DT. Yeah, Catastor, because it's a staple. Sometimes you need level 5s, you don't want to waste your Hyper Librarian. I really don't like using Hyper Librarian as a Quasar material, even though I have to sometimes, because if you have a Hyper Librarian just chilling on the field, and then you do a Quasar loop, you draw 5 cards at the end of the Quasar loop with the Hyper Librarian on the field. 2 from the Formula Synchron, 1 from one material, 1 from the other material, and 1 from the Quasar itself. So you'll draw 5 cards, which is ridiculous. Next one's Junk Warrior. He's in there because Quickdraw, you summon Quickdraw, you level eat it down to 4, you bring out Level Eater, you can synchro into your only target Junk Warrior. I don't really like that play unless it's like for the first turn Quasar. Junk Warrior is not the most amazing card to go in. Drill Warrior is the card that you want to go in and just sit on if you want to sit on the card. I got 1 Gaia. I tried to take it out of my extra deck for a while, but it always seemed like I needed it every time I didn't have it. I was trying to make room for more cards, and then I just realized the extra deck is just too clogged right now. I can't even take out 1 card because it'll just ruin everything. Next is Drill Warrior. Drill Warrior is the most fun card in the deck. I got the hiccups. But Drill Warrior, his effect is, he has 2 effects. Once per turn, you can have his attack points to attack your opponent directly. His other effect is discard a card and remove this card from play. And during your next standby phase, you can special summon this card back and add 1 monster from your graveyard to your hand. Now tell me that isn't ridiculous. You use this effect turn 1. You go Drill Warrior, you go off. You summon you summon so many cards. You just have tons of cards, and your graveyard is filled. You have BLS in your graveyard. You have Chaos Sorcerer. You have stuff out like crazy. You go Drill Warrior. You discard a card. Next standby phase comes back. Add BLS to your hand for no reason. Yeah. Or you can loop with Formula Synchron, where you just put Formula Synchron back from the graveyard back to the extra deck, and then you just summon it again with a Hyper Librarian on the field, draw another 2 cards for no reason. Crazy how good this card is. I was not playing it for a while. It was not a smart decision on my part. Next card's Black Rose. Really fun play, like I was talking about before. You have Hyper Librarian with Formula Sync, then you summon the Formula Synchron, you draw 2. It also gives you the option to their turn Black Rose, which means Formula Synchron's effect is during their main phase. You can Synchro Summon with it, so when they enter their battle phase, when they say like entering battle phase, you can say, alright, before that, at the end of your main phase, Synchro into Black Rose, blow up the field. Yeah. Crazy how good this card is. And if you do that turn, you'll also have 1 extra token that if you do the play where you have the Junk Synchron Doppelwarrior in hand with a level 1 tutor in the graveyard, you also have a 1 just in case you don't want a Black Rose. You can also, if they summon a big monster, you can just Synchro into Scrap Dragon or Stardust real fast, and they just, when they enter their battle phase, they'll just be like, man, I can't get over that, and you'll be like, yeah, I know. Next one is Junk Berserker for Quickdraw and Synchron Explorer, or if you have 2 tokens on the field with a Quickdraw. He's not the best. His effect is kind of good where he destroys face down monster. If he destroys defense position monsters before damage calculation, so he kills them before they flip face up, in other words, which is kind of awesome because he just gets over a lot of annoying stuff. And you can remove a junk monster from your graveyard and select 1 monster your opponent controls and reduce that monster's attack equal to the attack of the monster removed. So you can remove Junk Synchron and reduce the monster's attack by 1300. So it gets over anything that's 4000 or less if you have a Junk Synchron in the graveyard, because you could just crash with a 4000 monster with him. So he's kind of good. I don't go into him too much. He's the 1 card that I was thinking about taking out for a room, because I don't really use him that much. Next card is Junk Destroyer. He's a level 8 for Quickdraw, allows you to blow up a card for each non-tuner used in a summon, which can get up to 4. If you have a Quickdraw, you have 3 random tokens on the field, and you level eat the Quickdraw down to level 4. With the level eater, you can blow up 4 cards. That's how much I've blown up before, 4 cards. Road Warrior, because he's used for the Road Warrior is the best quick draw target, pretty much, because for one reason, for once per turn, you can special summon a level 2, or a level 2 warrior or machine monster from your deck for no reason. It's a light monster, and it's a 3000 beater. All you need is Road Synchron, which in this situation is Quickdraw. You need a Quickdraw and 2 or more non-tuners. You can't use 1, which is sad. You have to have 2. But him, pretty much, you summon him. If you have level eater in the graveyard, level eat it down, special summon the Unknown Synchron, sync formula, then you level eat it down again, and you can, do whatever you want, really. Next up is Scrap Dragon. Scrap Dragon's amazing. It's a level 8 target. I can go into level 8s really easily. I can go into anything really easily. But, yeah, Scrap Dragon's there. Also a really, really amazing card due to level eater. You just level eat it, bring up level eater, target level eater in one of their cards, blow it up, next turn, summon level eater again. There's so much looping that can be done with level eater. It's such a dumb card. As soon as any deck that uses it wins a YCS or does anything major, level eater's going down. He's getting banned so fast. Next is Stardust. Stardust is good. I can make Shooting Star Dragon because I run Shooting Star Dragon. And yeah, Stardust is just a good card. Next up is Shooting Star Dragon. Shooting Star Dragon is just a good card. Sometimes I can turn 1 and not Quasar. Not as good, but really you don't lose if you have either one of them in the field. There's just too much stuff that it stops. And the next up is the King Boss Monster of the deck, Shooting Quasar Dragon. If you don't know what he does, you don't know much about Yu-Gi-Oh! Quasar is the god card of the game. I know there was god cards in season 1 or 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh! I forgot what season it was, but this is the real god card. He has 4000 attack. To summon him, you need 1 tuner synchron monster, one tuner synchro monster, and 2 or more non-tuner synchro monsters. So, pretty much a 4 and a 6 with a formula synchron, or a 5 and a 5 with a formula synchron. That's really the only way he's coming out. So Armory Arm, or a Junk Warrior that you level 8 down, or any of your level 5s that you level 8 down. With Level Eater, it's really easy to manipulate the synchro monster's levels, so you can Quasar really easily. But pretty much, you need at least 2 synchron non-tuners to summon him. And for each non-tuner that you use to synchro summon him, he can attack an additional time. So you need at least 2, which means that when you summon him, he'll be able to attack at least twice, and he has 4000 attack. So for all you math geniuses out there, you attack twice directly for 4000, you win the game, because you only have 8000 life points. Also, his other effect is kind of okay. Negate any effect that activates once per turn. Any monster effect that activates, any spell card that activates, any trap card that activates, any effect that activates in the hand, any effect that activates in the graveyard, negate it, destroy it once per turn. No reason. And just to top it all off, when this card leaves the field, no matter how it leaves the field, special summon Shooting Star Dragon from your extra deck. For no reason. So, there's literally, I've played hundreds and hundreds of games with this deck. Literally never lost a game where Quasar's hit the field on my side. Has never happened. And I don't believe it will. There's not many ways to get over a Quasar. But I've seen it done. I've seen it done once. Alright, now we're going to get to the side deck. Side deck's important. So let's go ahead. I have two Spirit Reapers. Spirit Reaper's kind of a staple in side decks. It should be, in my opinion, a good stall card. And slows down the format. He also is a level 3 non-tuner that chills on your side of the field for a long time, and you can synchro with him. Or do whatever you want with him. Before I continue with the side deck, it's going to be weird. It's a different side deck. If you can see in my main board, I don't run trap cards. In my side deck, I don't run trap cards. I want MSTs to be completely dead on my opponent's side of the field. And I want to be able to side in a lot of cards as well, to make my opponent think I'm siding in a lot of trap cards, so they'll keep their MSTs. I love my opponent having dead cards in their hand, because that's how you win games. If they top deck MSTs that are just dead because I never set anything, you just have dead cards in your hand, and You won't understand unless it happens to you, but it'll sometimes cause you to lose the game because essentially you're not drawing cards. Because for each MST you draw, it's technically not drawing a card because it does nothing against me. But yeah, I was trying to build a side deck around the idea of not having trap cards, and I did a pretty well job in my opinion. But you guys can tell me what you think. 2 Spirit Reapers, 1 gold, 1 common, just cause I like trolling people. 2 Snowman Eaters, same reason as Spirit Reaper, blows up a card on their side of the field and also sits on the board for a while, at least a turn sometimes. You know, he's pretty good. And here's the next card that is going to make everybody confused. 3 copies of Jinzo. Royal Decree is... I ran 3 Royal Decree in every side deck I've ever built for this game because Royal Decree is too important of a card not to run. Couldn't run it because I don't run trap cards, and it couldn't be the only card that I ran, the only trap card that I ran, allowing my opponent to just always immediately MST it for no reason, or Heavy Storm it, all the time. So I was like, alright, Love Leader can be used for a tribute summon, because it specifically says he can be used for a tribute summon on this card, and I can special summon him whenever I feel like it. And I have a whole bunch of other monsters that can be special summoned for no reason as well. So Jinzo can come out turn 1 most of the time. And, you know, turn 1 Jinzo hurts, you know, heroes are dead, Dino Rabbits are hurt hard. A lot of cards in the format hurt really hard because Jinzo just negates all the trap cards. And he's so big they can't really get over him because there's not really many ways to make that big of a monster without, you know. Oh man, I've been messing this up. Alright, next card is... This is going to be 3 Spirit Soul Takers. There's 2 Smashings in its place until I get the 2 other Soul Takers. For some reason they're really hard to find. Yeah, Soul Taker. I don't run D-Prisons, you know, Smashings, Fiendish Chance, all the cards people use, all the Monster Hate they run in their side decks. Take all that Monster Hate out, throw in 3 Soul Takers, you're good. Does the same thing as all the rest of those pretty much. And so does its spell card. And you can't really use it on your opponent's turn, which really doesn't matter anyways. 2 System Down, because I really don't like windups, and Yugioh now is going to be really popular in my opinion. So you might as well. I mean, if you can throw a card in that just wipes the board and wipes their graveyard, it's like Yugioh do so much shenanigans, and then you activate 1 System Down on your turn when they went off, and they lose immediately. It's game over after that because they lose everything. All their setup is gone. All their monsters are removed from play. And the last 3 cards, 3 MST because I don't run any any back row hate, any sort of method of getting over back row. So if they run skill drain and stuff, I'll probably side in 3 Jinzo, 2 or 3 MSTs. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope I explained a lot, even though I know I just went on blabbering a lot. But I know the video's long, guys, but if you chill through the whole thing, that's pretty awesome. Also, I'm going to the regionals September 29th at Kissimmee in Florida. So if you're going there, you know, you can hit me up. I'll be with some of my friends. That'll be cool. We can hang out, play test or something. I don't know. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and peace.